Hi, this is Isshinryu for Life, and today I'd like to talk about Tokumine No Kun. Tokumine No Kun is one of 3 bow katas included by Soke Tatsu Shimabuku in his Isshinryu Karate system. The practice keeps us connected to the traditions of Okinawan Kobudo. It also enhances our empty hand technique by opening up a whole new dimension of karate training, and it's a great exercise. Today I'm going to execute Tokumine No Kun, then break the kata down into its various segments and illustrate some key points that will help improve your efficiency, effectiveness, and flow of power. So let's get going. So a couple things to get started with. Number one is that we generally hold the bow in thirds. This gives me balance and stability. It also gives me control over the bow. It affords me head to toe coverage, okay? 360 degree, side to side, and front to back. Normally, I operate out of a side seison or Zenkutsu stance. This keeps the bow in line with the body, and I want to present a narrow figure. I also use Seiyuchin stance, T stance, and the crane stance. Now let's take a look at the opening sequence. Attention stance, bow is resting on the ground. I bow, I slide my hand down so I can obtain my thirds. As I pick my hand up, just bending at the elbow, my feet go out, my other hand comes across the waist to get the other third. Continue that circle going, trying to keep vertical. Now I just pivot on the ball, that left foot, and I'm in a guard position. I'm going to step back with my left foot, block across the body, lower block, bring the right hand around, circling the bow, striking the top of the head. Movements are smooth. Big circles, good guard, accurate sweep, head block. Guard position. This guard position, common throughout, almost like an empty hand guard. Okay? The bow is pointed toward the face of my opponent. I'm trying to minimize how much of the bow he can see. He's looking down the barrel of a gun, so to speak. The next sequence are 3 twist punches. Iwadachi, Seiyuchin, Iwadachi. Back to Seiyuchin with a curl block. Now the twist punches have some key points to look at. So this is almost the same as an empty hand twist punch. Okay? I have the guard position and I extend my punching hand toward and send the bow toward the solar plexus of my opponent. Level toward the solar plexus. Now one key point about here is that the bow is riding along my forearm. Okay? It's resting just above my elbow bone in the bottom of my bicep. I keep it lightly pressed to my side, and I don't want this dangling. I got firmness here, okay? But I'm not tucked up under the armpit. This is a snap punch. It's fast. So out and back, level. This is my guide hand. It doesn't move. I don't extend it. I don't retract it. So after I complete that 3 twist punches and I'm back in my curl block in my Seiyuchin stance, okay, this curl block is designed to deflect an attack that's coming right at my solar plexus, okay? And I simply curl my wrist. Guard position, curl your wrist. Watch the tip of the bow making an arc, okay? And I'm clearing that technique out of the way. A simple movement. If I want to give it a little bit extra strength, I can add some elbow pull to this. Once I complete that block, my next 2 movements are initially off on a 45-degree angle to my right, and then off of a 45-degree angle to my left. So I come to a kamae, a Masuba-dachi position, bows behind my neck, and I'm pointing in the direction I want to go on that 45-degree angle. Okay, as I step out, I pull the bow with my left hand, guide it with my right hand to the head of my opponent. Head strike. There's an important concept here. Point the bow the direction you're going. Pull the bow. The right hand, the striking hand, is guiding. It's adding to the force. It's focusing at the technique. But the pulling hand is doing much of the work. The other key point is that I'm sandwiching the bow between my hand and the target. Okay, I don't want the hand on top. I want it behind. I'm going to go off in the next 45-degree angle. I'm going to point the bow in the direction I'm going. Okay? As I step in, I'm pulling with my left hand, executing a right hand rib strike. Again, the concept of point, pull, and sandwich the bow is very important, and it's consistent through all my bow practice. Now, the next combination is common several times throughout Tokumine No Kun. I finish that rib strike. I want to change my grip. I'm going to step in with the left, block to my left. This is a side block. Notice the elbow's high. I want to keep a nice right angle between the bow and my forearm. I want my hand behind the bow. I want my elbow behind my hand. This gives me support for this strong block, a strong two-handed block. Now notice the position of my feet in relation to the block. The block is just ahead of and outside of my lead foot. And it's in line with my front foot and my rear foot, giving me strength behind the block. If I lay the bow across my thighs, okay, and I just drop the front, push the rear, okay, I come in just about the correct position. Elbow high, hand behind the bow, supporting the strong block here. Okay. Block, bring that bottom around, being aware of the center of your bow, reaching, tucking this up under the armpit, and I have a head strike. Guard position, hand strike, side block, Seiyuchin twist punch, curl block. This is a great combination to practice repeatedly, as with any of the bow techniques. Pull punch out, pull block out. Do it repetitively, 5 times, 10 times. Be aware of the center of your bow. Keep it close to the body. Sandwich the bow. Hand is on top. The bow, the target's on the bottom. Guard. Hand strike. Side block. Twist punch. Curl block. Guard, hand strikes. I'm striking the wrist of my opponent. So this bow's coming to the same position, up and down, just about solar plexus height. Notice the elbow underneath, supporting the bow, and the hand on top, sandwiched between the target and my hand. Okay. 2 side blocks. These are head blocks to the side. Okay. Importantly, right angle. Get the elbow out. Don't let the elbow sag. Get reinforcement in that block. I reach my stop limit, the side of the body. I don't have to push out. Be aware of your center. The space right between your hands. This is connected to your tanden, and you can roll the bow right across your abdomen. Elbows out. Sandwich the bow, reinforce it. I do that to the left side and to the right side. When I finish that right side curl block, I'm going to square off my stance to the front, step in, groin attack from the bottom up. Square it off, drop the bow, drop the right hand, right foot goes forward, pull that up into the groin strike. The embusen of Tokumine No Kun is precise. North-south, east-west. I have 2 angles that I work with on a 45-degree angle. They're precise. So I want to maintain them. Back to Kamae with the curl block. 3 thrust punches. So this is a 2-handed punch, okay? A strong punch, a battering ram punch. Guard, thrusting both hands forward And an important idea, as in with the twist punch, I'm twisting my hands. Okay, twist punches, left and right together. This gives me some torque. Now my hands aren't moving around the bow, they're firm on the grip, but I want to get that torque involved behind this powerful punch. Again, the alignment with the bow, the body, the stance, the feet. Very powerful strike. Now I come upon a very unique series of techniques, combinations. After that last thrust punch, I'm going to pivot 180 degrees into a T stance. Rest the bow on my shoulder, point the barrel at my opponent, distract, step forward, rib strike. So I'm doing a couple different camera angles. If I finish this last thrust punch here, I would pivot 180 degrees, step in, rib strike. Thrust punch, pivot, distract, step in, pulling with that left hand, striking, guiding with the right hand. When I do this turn, and keep the bow level, I'm just pivoting into a T stance. Okay? Feet are hardly moving. Okay? Now I'm pointed right at my opponent. I distract. Ki, drop the bow, bring the front foot down, step in, rib strike. The next sequence following from the rib strike, I'm going to pivot, drop to my knee, pull the bow into a knee strike. Rib strike, pivot, drop. Now my bow's pointed right at the knee of my opponent, the target. And I'm going to pull with my left hand, guide with the right. Of course, the guiding hand is always adding to and focusing, but again, much of the work is being done by the pull hand. This can't be emphasized too much. So, rib strike, and watch the bow doesn't move. As I pivot around it, it pretty much stays in position. It drops when I drop, and now it's facing the knee, and I pull into that rib strike. Pull the right end of the bow around, making a complete circle. Upward rib strike, again sandwiching the bow. Keep the bow close to the body, rotating. Reinforced side block, strong head strike, guard, hand strike, side block, punch, combine block. Rib strike, knee, rib, side block, head, hands, side block, punch, kamae, curl block. After that curl block, I get into another unique combination. And that I step back, pull the bow across my body and execute a side head block, blocking with the upper portion of the bow. Step back, get your foot planted, then pivot the whole body, pull the bow across, and I'm covered head to toe, but I'm blocking a head block here. Again, notice the elbows are out. I want that reinforcement. Important point. The next unique combination from this block is a flip into a hand strike. So I'm flipping the bow, my hand is riding along the bow. Gives me contact, gives me control, adds some force, and I grasp it, and I have a good center line position, elbows tucked, shoulders down for this hand strike. Pull, flip, good center line. Now I want to change my grip. I want to get a wider grip. I duck under the bow, begin my side strike to the head. Be aware of the center of the bow that is between your hands, okay? Connected to your torso, your tanden. And as you come along, stepping forward and executing that strike. So, flip, grasp, change to a wide grip. This gives me more control. Begin your circle, duck under. Okay, look at, I can put this in to that temple strike. And this is a temple strike. Okay. I'm coming around, and I have a little push at the end. That doesn't mean I'm striking the face. That's there to give me a little control over the centrifugal force. My target is the temple. I come back, push block. This is the only seison stance in the kata. Bring my left hand under the right as I shift into seiyuchin. I make two big circles, wind up. My strike is going to go in this direction. So I'm pulling, guiding, sandwiching the bow, head strike. Change my grip, bring the right hand under the left. Two big circles, and strike in this direction, pulling, sandwiching, head strike. This is a great opportunity to practice the point, pull, and sandwich concept. Do some repetitions. Pull each direction. Change, pull. Try to keep the bow level as you're moving back and forth. A key point here is when I strike, change my grip before I start to maneuver the bow. That way I'll have one good hand securing the bow until I get the other one on the bow. And oftentimes you see people trying to change the bow and have two hands loose until they get to here. But you want to have one good grip. Now I can really send the bow. Now these two big circles, Tatsuo Shimabuku taught Tokumine No Kun to my instructor. Okay? And when he did, he said, this is bullshit. Okay? Meaning, There's nothing going on here, just keeping somebody away and keeping them at bay until you can execute the technique that you want to kick, that you want to execute. So I have these powerful side strikes, and I'm sandwiching the bow. This is important. Sandwiching the bow. I want to keep the arm behind the bow. Okay? I don't want my hand on top, where I'm just holding by the thumb. If I hit something hard, that thumb is the only thing holding the bow that's likely to break off. But if I get my hand behind the bow, my forearm behind the bow, that gives me a lot of reinforcement. Next movement, to the rear. I'm pointing my bow to the rear. That's the direction I'm going into. I'm going to step out with my left foot, pull with my right hand, execute a head strike. Change my grip, come back the other direction, set, left foot forward, rib strike. Finish this, come back, point, pull, sandwich, change the grip here. Okay. I'm changing my grip here, not while I'm moving the bow. Change, rib strike. It's a good combination to practice back and forth. Once I finish that rib strike, reposition the bow, bring the right hand to the hip, come on. Okay. Step in, side block, strike, strike, overhead strike. Change. Come on, I didn't change the position of my hands, just the bow. Zenkutsu. Bow's pointed toward the eyes of my opponent. I'm going to step in strongly, right hand, block, pulling, elbow out. 2 strikes. Okay. Step up and into head strike, sandwiching the bow. Let's go through the kata one time, complete kata. See if you can pick out some of the elements that I was talking about. Now if you take apart these various combinations, segments of the kata, Practice them repeatedly. You know, I'm a firm believer in form and repetition to make these techniques natural and develop a conscious reflex. There's much to learn about the bow, and it greatly enhances our empty hand technique. I appreciate you tuning in. Isshinryu for life.